Igioma woke up before dawn every day. Her small room was dark, the roof leaking from old rainstorms, but she had no choice but to rise. She tied her wrapper tightly and lifted a heavy basket of vegetables on her head. The walk to the market was long, but she endured it. Her husband, Ease, had died when their daughter Adiz was still little. From that moment, the burden of survival rested on her alone. She farmed small plots of land, hawked firewood, washed people's clothes, and even carried loads in the market for a few coins. Sometimes her hands bled, her legs ached, and her body wanted to give up. But whenever she looked at Adiz, bright-eyed and innocent, strength returned. She whispered to herself, "I must not fail. She is all I have." Adiz grew up watching her mother's endless struggles. At school, she wore uniforms sewn and re-sewn many times. Her sandals had holes, and her lunch was often just Gary soaked in water. But she never complained. One evening, under the dim light of a kerosene lamp, she looked at her mother and said, "Mama, one day I will make you proud. You will never carry loads in the market again. I will build you a house, and people will respect you." Igioma's eyes filled with tears. She touched her daughter's cheek gently. "My Adiz, my joy is to see you rise higher than me. Hold on to your dreams, no matter how hard life becomes." Igioma's elder sister, Ngozi, lived in the city with her wealthy husband. They had cars, a big house, and more than enough to eat. But despite all her comfort, Ngozi carried a secret pain. She could not bear children. Whenever Igioma visited to ask for a little help with Adiz's school fees, Ngozi's face hardened. "Sister, don't bring your problems here. I have my own battles. God denied me children. Let him also provide for you." Her words cut deep, but Igioma swallowed her tears and left quietly. She told herself, "If my sister rejects me, God will not." School was a battlefield for Adiz. Her classmates mocked her torn dress and her plain food. Some called her the poor girl from the market. During breaks, while others bought snacks, Adiz sat quietly under a tree, reading borrowed textbooks. Teachers noticed her determination. She always came first in class, no matter the shame or hunger she endured. At night, when a lantern flickered weakly, Adiz would still be awake, scribbling notes. Igioma would watch her and whisper prayers. "Lord, please crown her efforts with success." As Adiz grew older, Igioma worked harder to keep her in school. But whenever she visited Ngozi for help, her sister mocked her. "All this stress for a girl? Tomorrow she'll marry and leave you. You're wasting your time." Ngozi's friends sometimes laughed in her presence. "Your sister hawks food while you dine like a queen." Instead of pity, envy grew inside her. She resented Igioma for having a daughter, the one blessing she could never have. The day Adiz's admission letter arrived, the whole compound heard her scream, "Mama, Mama, I made it into the University of Lagos." Igioma danced barefoot, her wrapper nearly slipping as neighbors gathered to watch. She sang praises, her voice shaking with joy. But when the excitement settled, fear crept in. Tuition fees, accommodation, feeding, where would the money come from? That night, Igioma prayed with tears running down her cheeks. "God, you gave my daughter this chance. Please help me not to fail her now." Igioma borrowed from unfriendly relatives and sold more goods at the market. When neighbors mocked her, she replied, "I will do anything for my daughter's future. Her education is my wealth." Still, Ngozi never helped. She envied her sister's daughter, resenting the bond between them. Life at the university was nothing like Adiz imagined. Her mother could barely send money. She went to classes on an empty stomach, wore the same clothes over and over, and shared textbooks with classmates. Wealthier students mocked her background. Some lecturers made life difficult for her. A few pressured her to compromise herself for grades or favors, but she refused. Instead, Adiz found small ways to survive. She tutored classmates for a fee, sold stationery, and applied for every scholarship she could find. Hunger and shame were her daily battles, but she never lost focus. In her second year, disaster struck. The deadline for tuition came, and Igioma had no money. She cried all night, holding her head in her hands. The next day, she made a painful decision. She sold the only piece of land her late husband left behind. As she signed the papers, tears rolled down her cheeks. "This land was my last hope," she whispered, "but my daughter's future is worth more." When Adiz heard, she cried bitterly. She knelt before her mother and said, "Mama, I will never waste your sacrifice. I will succeed, even if it costs me my life." That turning point fueled Adiz's fire. She worked harder than ever, spending long hours in the library, taking on tutoring jobs, and refusing to quit no matter how hard things got. Her efforts paid off. She won a partial scholarship and earned respect from her lecturers. Slowly, her story changed from the poor girl to the brilliant one. Every success reminded her of her mother's sweat and tears. The stadium was filled with graduates in bright gowns. Ijeoma wore a simple borrowed lace blouse and sat proudly in the crowd. When Adiz's name was called, she walked across the stage with tears in her eyes. She looked into the audience and saw her mother. Their eyes met, and both broke into uncontrollable tears. After the ceremony, Adiz hugged her tightly. "Mama," she whispered, "our suffering ends today. Watch me." News reached Ngozi. For the first time, her laughter faded. Something inside her burned with regret, though she hid it. Years passed. Adiz found work in the city. She climbed the ladder slowly, proving herself through dedication and skill. One morning, a shiny SUV rolled into the village. The doors opened, and Adiz stepped out, elegant and confident. The villagers gasped. "Is this not Ijeoma's daughter?" Ijeoma, selling vegetables by the roadside, dropped everything when she saw her. Adiz ran to her, knelt, and said, "Mama, your suffering is over. From today, you will live like a queen." Adiz built a beautiful house for her mother. She furnished it with modern comforts, a kitchen filled with food, a soft bed, clean water, and electricity. She also bought her a car with a driver to take her anywhere she wanted. Neighbors who once mocked Ijeoma now admired her. "You raised a great daughter," they said. Ijeoma sat in her new home, tears rolling down her cheeks. "Lord, you never abandoned me. Thank you." Ngozi sat in her big house, filled with wealth, yet empty of joy. For the first time, she wept, not for herself, but for what she had lost by turning her back on her only sister. One evening, Adiz held her mother's hands and said, "Mama, your sacrifices built my life. Without you, I am nothing." Ijeoma smiled. "And without your determination, my suffering would have been wasted." Together, we turned pain into joy. The story became a testimony in the village. Mothers pointed to Adiz and told their children, "Work hard, respect your parents, and never despise small beginnings. God always rewards love and sacrifice." Meanwhile, Ngozi sat alone in her big house, haunted by regret, a reminder that envy and pride only lead to emptiness. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring love stories and emotional dramas.